All right, the college football playoff is here. Moving on to the nightcap on New Year's Eve. In Atlanta, we got Ohio State taking on the number one Georgia Bulldogs. Seeing Georgia as a 6-point favorite in this spot, despite everybody and their mother unloading on the Bulldogs. We've seen this line come down from 6.5, total at 62.5. I'm not going to look at this game from a total perspective. I did grab this at 6.5, and I'm surprised I'm doing this. But give me the Buckeyes, plus 6.5, an official one-unit play for me. I've sung the praises of Georgia really these last 2 years. This year specifically, I mean, I backed them against Tennessee. I backed them in the SEC championship against LSU. This is a far better offense than given credit for. Stetson Bennett is a far better quarterback than given credit for. I've said that dating back to this summer here on the channel. That said, as a handicap of this game, I think Ohio State has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with Georgia. Even with my belief about Stetson Bennett, you still have to give the quarterback edge here to CJ Stroud. With what he's done over the last 2 years, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that he is the better quarterback in the spot. If I had to nitpick Georgia's offense, I would say that their running game is probably not as strong as it should be. With what they have on their offensive line, they should be up there with Ohio State and Michigan and some of these other blue blood teams with their ability to run the football. And we just haven't seen that this year. Specifically, the Bulldogs are just not a very good red zone team. I mean, they've settled for 21 red zone field goals this year. On the other hand, Ohio State is finishing drives at an elite rate. 75% of their red zone possessions, they're turning into touchdowns. So in a game like this, you're going to have to finish drives. You're going to have to turn those red zone chances into sevens. From what I've seen this year, I think that's a clear edge for Ohio State. Now, this Georgia defense, I would still say, is the best in college football. But in that SEC championship game, you did see them give up over 500 yards through the air to LSU. You can't overreact from what you see on one given day and completely change your mind about a unit. But with that said, I think it shows that this Georgia defense is not unbeatable, particularly when you're stepping up against this set of receivers like Emeka Ibuka, like Marvin Harrison, a quarterback like CJ Stroud. They can go toe-to-toe with Georgia. I really think the sentiment on this Ohio State team is far lower than it should be. Obviously, the last time we saw them did get handled in a pretty loud fashion by Michigan. Let's be clear. If they have those sort of breakdowns in their back seven defensively here in this game, we can throw away this ticket. But you can't take what you saw on one given day and just completely change your mind about a unit that you previously thought highly about. This Ohio State defense is much improved. I do think they can go toe-to-toe with Georgia in the run game. Stetson Bennett is a far better quarterback than given credit for, and I'm willing to acknowledge that. But with Georgia's inability to finish drives at times, combined with Ohio State's elite standing in that category, I think this is going to be a close game. I really do. Rarely do you see a total this high at 62.5 in a Georgia game. I think it gives you a pretty good indication as to how the odds makers feel about how Ohio State matches up. I think this is going to be one of the best playoff games we've seen to date. There is a reason why everybody and their mother is unloading on Georgia, and we're seeing this line move in the other direction. Now, I don't really care about that public versus sharp stuff, not how I handicap games, but really think Ohio State's undervalued coming into this spot. I've loved Georgia all year, but this is one of the few teams in college football that can go to toe-to-toe with a roster like they have. Ohio State plus 6.5, and I would still play it at 6, but I did get this at 6.5 as an official one-unit play for me.